Bienvenidos. Soy la Bruja Espinada, and I'm here with your message of the week. So, let's get started. When asked what is needed this week by the Watcher, what came out was the Judgment card. Now, what the Judgment card is telling you at this time is that what you need is to practice acceptance, practice acknowledgement. And this is very important when it comes to an awakening, a rebirth. This is this card is trying to say that at this time you are hindered, and it's indicating that you sincerely need to stop avoiding. You need to stop holding on. I don't know if you've followed the other readings that I've done, but a lot of the readings have been showing like you have to move on from the past. You need to stop thinking about it. Take the lesson and keep moving forward. And that's what this card is indicating, that maybe you are trying to move forward, and if you're having a difficulty trying to, like you don't know what it is that won't let you let it go, this card is telling you, hey, how about instead of denying it, instead of avoiding it, if it seems to be popping up all the time and you can't let it go, then it's highlighting, okay, well, let's acknowledge the issue. Acknowledge that it happened. Accept that it happened. That's where the acceptance is coming in. That's where the acknowledgement came in. All right, it happened. Accept it. It is a part of your past, but you gotta let it go. And part of letting it go is accepting and acknowledging that it happened. Whether we like it or not, you gotta acknowledge it, accept it, in order to have an awakening towards your rebirth. Now, when asked how to go about this, like if there's still some help that you need, what wound up coming out was the Queen of Blades, the Devil, and the Seven of Coins. These are a great combination. It's actually talking a lot about, well, the Queen of Blades is what I like to state the no bullshit card. Like, cut that shit out. She is observant, independent, rational thinking. It's a practice to let things go. It's not like, okay, well, whatever. And some people can, but let's be real. They're probably just avoiding the process of acknowledging the situation, accepting the situation just by avoidance. And avoidance is not an indicator of letting go. You're just putting aside the issue, putting it on the back burner for a later time, and those issues pop up. But when she's coming out, she's telling you, okay, it's time to critically think in order to move on. That's where the Devil comes in. Now, the Devil card in a traditional Rider-Waite tarot card, you will see is the Devil sitting in the center. There are two individuals at the bottom that seemed to be chained to the Devil. But if you look closely at that card, their shackles or whatever is chaining them to the Devil can easily be slipped off in order to ensure escape. What this card is showing you is clearly it's the Devil, but there's beautiful flowers that are growing out of his horns, luring you in. Like, you know that's the Devil. You know those horns are not exactly the most friendly indicators, but what's drawing you in? What is keeping you thinking about what you shouldn't be thinking about, or what you need to stop thinking about, what you need to practice to stop thinking about, to let go of? And the Devil's an indicator of codependent issues, about usually tied with the idea of the 7 deadly sins, like gluttony, lust, wrath, whatever it is that you know your, what I like to refer to as what your drug of choice is. Whether it's dependency on something, whether it could be anything. You know what your guilty pleasure is, right? What it's considered to be a guilty pleasure, or what you know is your vice, what you know is your triggers. How are you going to overcome these things? By using your rational thoughts and your critical thinking. You know what you should and you shouldn't be doing. You know the practices, or you know that you can find practices on how to overcome the situation you need to acknowledge, accept, and awaken from. Now, when it comes to the 7 of coin, the 7 of coin is all about patience. It's all about perseverance. It's all about planning, to reevaluate and assess. And it's really, really interesting that when it comes to like awakening and rebirth and acknowledgement and acceptance, these are all processes of coping. You observe the situation. If you see that it's not getting better and things like that, you know, when it comes to letting go, you already know the processes, or it's indicating here, you know what the process is. Because if this comes out and this comes out together, when it's talking about this and this, you know what you got to do. You've looked into it, you've put it aside. I'll do it at a later time. I don't have the time right now. Start making time. Cut the bullshit and start making time. Because you need to awaken. There's a rebirth that's been waiting for you, and you want it, and yet you're not making the proper steps towards it. So time to accept what happened. You acknowledge it, accept it. Let's be reborn. Because the devil also indicates breaking bad habits, breaking patterns that no longer serve you, and you know what your indicators are to heal yourself. And that's where the 7 of coins is coming in. It's telling you, okay, you know you have to be patient. You know you have to properly plan these things out in order to persevere, in order to grow. And you have to be able to realize that if something's not working, you reevaluate, you reassess in order to start over, to keep going, whatever the case may be. Now, when asked what needs to be released at this time, what came out was the 2 of rods. 2 always indicates either balance, or it indicates a choice. In this sense, right here with this card, these cards are at so far, it has a lot to do with making that choice. And because it's telling you to quit being impatient. Like, yes, impatience is there, but that's where you have to put into practice patience, because you know you are going to persevere if you're patient and you put in that work. When you see that there is some difficulty, you already know how to reassess and replan. So this has to do with patience. It has to do with planning. You know what you have, like basically what the cards are saying is, you know what you got to do. You just got to do it and quit putting it off. Like, you need to stop putting it off already. Do what you got to do. Cut that bullshit out. So when asked what the overall lesson was from the Memento Mori deck, what came out was the Scythe and the Lock. Now with the Scythe is indicating change, and it usually is rapid change. And not only that, but it talks a lot about termination, you know, the Reaper's calling, and that's not an indicator that someone's going to die, but something needs to die. And I say need because something has to end. That's where it's an indicator of change. A lot of people fear the death card, but death is an indicator of change coming in, of a cycle ending. And this is what this is telling you. It's time to cut out those old patterns. It's time to cut out the bullshit that you don't need anymore in order to have a better future for your growth. 7 is only going higher. Growth and abundance is coming in, an awakening, a rebirth. But you got to cut that bullshit out. You know what the bullshit is that you need to cut out. Now, it's also in regards to harvesting. The 22nd is the equinox, which is the changing of the season. Harvesting is what happens around this time. It's time to harvest all that bullshit out your life in order to make way for the new growth, the new crops, to let the old die and to let the new grow. And then we have lock. Lock has a lot to do with feeling secure. It could also indicate like that there's entrapment, that you feel like you're being held down. And if that's the case, it's because you're not cutting up that bullshit and you need to start to to grow. Not only that, but it's also telling you have to make your safety a priority. If you're in a state of depression, if you are in a state of anxiety, if you feel like you are drowning, you are trapped, you need to start applying your coping mechanisms to let go of what no longer serves you. And part of that is acknowledging and accepting what has happened in order to, start letting go of what no longer serves you. Remaining in the past is not going to help you, but you have to acknowledge and accept that it happened, and it may have sucked and it may have been super painful, but whatever you learned, take it with you, but it has to be towards your growth. Now, this is also indicating that doing all this will help you start making you feel secure. You will start feeling security in yourself because it kind of seems like you don't trust yourself to make these decisions. But that's because you're not seeing any growth, but you have to be patient in order to persevere. And you got to plan. You have to plan these things out. Make the time for your growth. And last but not least, this is also an indicator to kind of keep your purse strings tight. Like right now, be very careful of your finances. The holidays are coming up. Just be aware. Keep an eye out. And there's that. So, last but not least, we have our message from the Enchanted Blossoms Oracle deck. And what came out, surprise, surprise, was the Abundance card. And I thought I was supposed to keep my purse strings tight. Well, listen, this abundance is also trying to tell you that it is a reminder of all you have in abundance in your life. Look beyond material possessions and money and include everything that makes your soul feel full. You may have a multitude of friends and loved ones or wealth of little joys that you experience every day. Take this moment to acknowledge and thank the universe for all the bounty in your life. Show gratitude for your current abundances and be ready to accept new ones. Know that you walk through every day full in heart, spirit, and life. So, as you progress, renew, and are reborn towards the things that you have been planting, that you will harvest, letting go and cutting away things that are not serving you and will not serve you and will not help the rebirth. Observe what it is that's tying you down. Accept it, acknowledge it. Be patient, and you will have a feeling of security. So, I hope this message helps, and I'll see you guys next time.